Welcome, everyone. You are about to embark on a journey through the universe as you indulge in this extraordinary essence of enlightened, empowered, evolved. Let the show begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, where we educate, motivate, and liberate you through enlightening dialogues, empowering music, and evolving content. I know everyone's doing well, and everything is unfolding perfectly. I am excited yet again because my next extraordinary guest is a life strategist, coach, speaker, creator of Magic Morning Stretch, and a whole lot more. But without further ado, allow me to introduce you to Susan Wise. How are you doing today, Susan?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm so
Absolutely.
excited to be here. And I love what you're providing on this platform, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. So looking
Absolutely.
forward to
The pleasure is mine. Each and every person that I am so fortunate and thankful to attract on this platform is it means so much to me. As I mentioned before, I believe that the universe is a perfect orchestrator. So whoever I connect with, I know it was divinely guided. And I take it that way. I really do. And it ends up being that way. That's the way I see it. That's the way it is, and that's the way it happens. So everyone that I encounter is a key component and piece to, you know, to not only this podcast, but to my experience. And I'm so thankful. And I just want to say that I believe that time is one of our most precious assets. So for you to decide to spend even a moment of your time here with me on this podcast, Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude to you. So thank you very much for being here at this present moment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your time and all your listeners' time. I feel very
Absolutely.
honored.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you know what? I'm inspired to just lead off with this. You were speaking about
Okay.
some special gifts. Speak on that again and say it to us while we're here, and of course I'll put all the links to it after this is uploaded and edited. But tell us about a little bit about what you have.
Sure. Yeah, I have actually two gifts for you. And one of them, the first one is actually two images. And the first one, they go along with something that was actually downloaded to me called Remembering My Soul Team. And
Mm,
it's fantastic the way it was presented to me. And I spent most of I've always been sort of a spiritual seeker, but I realized about 4 years ago that I was still seeking outside of myself. It was like there was always something missing. There was always one more course, one more certificate, and I couldn't quite, all the trainings and everything I did were fantastic, but there was still something missing. And then, and then I started channeling, and it was just amazing the things that I allowed to come through and what they showed me, and a way that they showed me of how this is internally, how I am source and God is in me as well as
mm,
everything else is
absolutely.
they made the illustration of that I have a soul team, and my soul team consists of, well, we have all many parts of ourselves, but it's sort of like that statement that I'd heard for decades, but it didn't ever really mean very much. That spirit, that realization or enlightenment is the integration of all the parts of ourselves.
Mm,
And I always, well, I have all my parts; they're all here. But what I didn't realize is that I really wasn't in relationship with all of my parts. So what
alignment.
was showing alignment, yes. And so they sort of broke it down for me into my physical being, thinking being, emotional being, sexual creative being, abundance, prosperity being, and spiritual being.
Mm,
And obviously there's many more parts of ourselves, but each one of those is like this life force. And when before we incarnate, we have our perfect soul team for exactly what our soul wants to do when we get here, our soul's mission. But then
right.
we incarnate, and the fun of the earth game starts, and we forget that we're divine. And so
Mm,
these different life sort parts of us start looking outside of ourselves for the
right.
answers. And we're conditioned, which is absolutely perfect because
Right.
that's the game, is that's the fun, is getting back together. And we're conditioned from a young age to look outside of ourselves. And they even studies show that like 90% of our beliefs about who we are developed before the age of 7. And so they're
Wow.
all externally. And but we're
Incredible.
never told to, we're never taught to really um question or our beliefs or our values, or go back and, is that really my belief, or did I just grab it from somebody and assume it was mine and take it on as mine? And so
Right.
anyway, it's a very fun process of, and I realized, like, with my physical being, yes, I had a relationship by default because it's been with me since my first breath, but it was not a loving or co-creative or respectful relationship. I think we're very much conditioned to have a very critical relationship to our physical being. We, even though they're incredibly intelligent beings, we don't listen to them when they're trying to tell us what they need. We look outside of ourselves. So just really realizing, with all the different parts of myself, with my prosperity being, with everything, looking outside of myself. So long answer to your short question.
No,
One
no,
of the free
please,
gifts.
please. I
So,
love, I love it.
yeah. So one of the free gifts is an illustration, and it's very fun. My daughter actually did the illustration for me. But the first one is of
Wow.
our unified soul team, our unique soul team vibration, where
Mm,
we're all sort of, all the different parts of us are sort of dancing in harmony, where we dance with, co-creatively with everything else. The other one is remembering my soul team, when all of these parts of us are sort of, after we get here, and they're all looking externally for the answers. So those are just two images that are sort of fun, I think, to play with, to actually get a very tangible, I think. Yeah, I know I was searching and searching for years, but it was really hard to get
mm.
to embody.
Yes, yes,
Embody.
yes.
So a lot of what I'm doing is embodiment of these principles.
Mm.
So I have that free gift, and then, which is on my website, which I know you're going to provide for them.
Yes, but
And then I
go
also,
ahead and oh,
yeah,
excuse me.
yeah,
Sorry for the interruption, but yeah, go ahead and say your website while we're at it.
it
Please.
is Susan, SUSAN dash wise, WISE.com.
Okay.
And that you'll find that on there under free gift. And then I have also decided, I have a digital video course called Magic Morning Stretch, Transform Your Day Before You Get Out of Bed. And I am a yoga instructor and have been a fitness trainer for most of my life. So it is a very great stretch that actually I've done for decades. And a lot of them come from PT, different PT exercises, physical therapy exercises that I had after injuries and things. But so it's a fabulous stretch to help with your flexibility and range of motion. But it also has mindfulness cues.
Mm.
And so as you're going through the stretches, it's just a remembrance to give gratitude to your body and think about
Yes.
everything that part of your body does for you all day, every day,
Wow.
without you even having to ask for it. So,
Incredible.
yeah. So, and you get to do it before you get out of bed. So you can already check
Mm.
off one little self-love check box before you get out of bed.
Wow. And might I
So,
add that that's a great way to start your day. Anything that's incorporated, that incorporates mindfulness and gratitude. That right there already uh, says how powerful what you have developed is. Just right there, just those alone, those key components that are incorporated in there. That lets me know, yes. Well, at
yes.
least to
And
me, it speaks to me.
what a, yeah, what a great way to start your day. I mean,
Right.
just raising that vibration from the before you even get out of bed.
Before
Yeah.
you even get out of bed, you set the
Yeah.
intention as to how your day will go. It's like,
Mhm.
to me, I like to call it, and I didn't make this up. I forgot where I got it from, but it's almost like sending your angels out before you, uh, which means that I'm creating a beautiful path before I even walk it. So
Oh, I
that's
love that.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I
To
and
be,
I, and that's part of my daily practice as well. I say, uh, especially just when I remember to, and it's pretty much every day because I write affirmations every morning, but I pretty much visualize and verbalize how my day will go. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I know every aspect, but no matter what, I'm going to come back to balance no matter what I encounter, because I know that everything that I encounter that may not be uh, what I actually desire, but maybe on a subconscious level I do. But it's going to help me win in some way or grow in some way. So that's how I face, you know, my life. And not saying that I don't encounter any challenges and adversities, because yes, I do. And sometimes I have to, I allow them to maybe throw me for a loop for a minute. But now I'm equipped to know, wait a minute, everything's here for my benefit. It's not being done to me. It's for me. And then
Right.
I start to look within, like, okay, what part of me might have attracted this or engaged with this or been triggered by this and why. So I just use everything as fuel or a learning experience now at my current level of consciousness. And I've developed that through extensive reading and speaking with people, such as yourself, to help affirm and make me aware of these things. And they do
Yeah.
work. Yes, the flow.
That. Yeah. One of my favorite sayings is everything happens for me. And it's
Yes.
amazing, just like what you said, the transformation that that has, because it's you immediately you can't be a victim. You take
Mm, right.
responsibility for everything in your life. And
Yes.
it's amazing because the minute that you're not a victim, you just take your power back and you have all the power. And you're like, and then
Yes.
I really try to think about it. I really try to think of I try to incorporate play a lot into my life and fun.
Yes.
And so I really try to make it a game. And it's like,
Yes.
even when, okay, like something happens and it's like, oh, wow, I don't know how this could possibly happening for me because it does not feel good. But it's like the puzzle of being like, oh, it's going to be really interesting to see how this is happening for me because I know it is, but I really can't see it right now.
Right.
But
Right.
it,
Right. Because
it
oftentimes,
like,
and excuse me again, but I just have to elaborate that oftentimes we can't see it. And
yeah,
in that particular moment, our emotions might be, really getting the best of us. And sometimes a little fear creeps in there and uncertainty and, or whatever, anger or anxiety or worry. But
yeah.
yes, go ahead,
That's why I
sir.
love
I
really,
apologize.
no, I just love making really trying to play the game also when little things happen. And because then, or even when good things happen, and just like if something breaks or something, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. But you get in the like you have it, like you start working that muscle and you get in the habit of when
Right.
something goes wrong. So then when something bigger goes wrong, you know that you've had practice and you're like, okay,
Right.
it's gonna show up sometime how this is happening for me. I know
Absolutely.
it. So
And I certainly
yeah,
do am aware now. I wouldn't say I believe, but I know now that things that do happen are preparing us for just to be able to flow through the contrasts. I like to call it contrasts of life, because life is not just all one way. Yes, we can make, no matter what happens, still be in harmony and balance no matter what. But nonetheless, we're going to experience dark and light and cold and hot and
yeah,
positive and negative and death and life. And it's just all a
yeah.
beautiful, just to be able to embrace that instead of resisting it and fighting against that flow, you know.
And one
Yes.
thing I realized when with getting in deeper relationship with my soul team members, I didn't ever realize that I could have a relationship with my emotional being. I
Mm,
just thought that my emotions, I was at the whim of my emotions and they would take me wherever they wanted to go. And I also didn't realize that I wasn't allowing myself. I really wasn't allowing myself to open my heart and feel emotions to the depth that I could
mm.
out of fear because I didn't know if they were going to kill me or I was going to ever get out of that
Wow.
deep, dark emotion. And so it's been really, I feel like they've taken me by the hand and been like, okay, you can you can feel these things because you're going to come back up. And then
Mhm.
that just expands the capacity to feel and love everything. And
Powerful,
again,
powerful,
when you know that it's happening for you, you're like, okay, I know I'm going to get through this.
very
And I
empowering.
feel like I sort of felt like I didn't realize, but I had sort of a low grade stress going was sort of my set point for my
Right.
life, even though I have a very, I don't have any great big thing in my life. I have a friend that grew up in a refugee camp, and yet he envisions peace. I grew up in a very, comfortable situation, but it's had
Right.
this low grade, like, but that low grade, like, I have a test like Sunday night and you have a test the next morning. Just like I sort of would wake up with that every day and run on
Oh,
this,
wow.
this
Wow.
because our culture is such a thriving, driving culture, right?
Right.
That's how, again, previously, that's how I got my value. We're conditioned to get our value by reaching outside of us
Right. Right.
for
Right.
appreciation, for love, for value, for everything.
Yes.
And so now I feel like, and I felt like before, like if I was going along, my happy parts would be sort of like this, but I would go back down, sort of like
Right.
stalagmites, in
Like a,
caves. And
like a
now I
lot
feel
of people, including myself.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then, but I remember I heard that our divine set point is one of peace and joy. And the first time I heard that, I was like, I don't know if
It
I really buy
is?
that.
You mean,
Yeah.
where did I
Yeah.
miss the bus? Yes. No, I get
Started
it.
to realize that. Yeah. Then now it's more like those things, the dips I have are more like stalactites, like they dip down, but I know I go back up. But I feel
Mhm.
like just through knowing that that everything is okay, I can have
Right.
that set point at a much more, just
Yes.
have that peace that I didn't, a deeper sense of peace that I never knew existed by
Right.
just knowing that
And
everything is
that is to me is a big part of our journey is to get to that point, because we spend our life, or we can spend our life trying to find that set point and trying to find that peace of mind that everything is always okay, even when it doesn't seem like it. There's just something to it. And I, for one, can't explain or interpret. There's some people that are good at interpreting whatever happens in people's lives. You can throw it at them and say, well, why did this happen? Why did this? I'm not one to do that. I can't. I mean, I'm not even interested in doing that, but I do know that there is a calculation, there is a mathematic to the universe, and things do flow certain ways, and it never stays down here. If it does,
right.
it's because you're tuning into the down here and strengthening the down here. Um,
Right.
and so it seems like you're staying there,
Right.
but just
Yes.
embracing and embodying, as you used that earlier, the fact that everything is in perfect harmony and balance and flow, and
Mhm.
everything is happening for you and not to
Yeah.
you. That
Yeah.
mindset alone, that feeling alone, embodying that alone is, to
Yeah.
me, is what enhances your life and causes life to just be more of an enjoyable experience.
Yes. And going back to something you just said that's so powerful that if we're thinking about whatever it is, another saying that I go to a lot is what I focus on grows.
Exactly.
I actually have another way of saying it, but I can't think of it right now. But it's like whatever we focus on, that's whatever we give our attention to, that's where we're going to stay, and that's what's going to grow. So if we're focusing on the negative, like you
Right.
said, that's where we're going to stay. But
That's
if we
yes.
can take some deep breaths and get back into the present moment and think about where we want, instead of how we're envisioning the situation, how do we want the situation to be?
Mm,
Ideally, how do we want, and focus on
yes.
that. And yeah, it's very, very,
Starts, and another way to put it, already see your way through it,
yeah,
through it, embracing, allowing things to be how they are and what they are at that present moment, and just seeing
right,
through it to the other side of the clouds that I'm emerging. This is a constant development, and this is what's happening. This is not a permanent circumstance. This is not, this down point is not it. This is not the end. This is a means to the end, but this particular thing is not the end. And just knowing that.
right,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. So give us a little insight on uh and I know you've already been doing it, but just And tell if you've already touched on this, it's fine. But I just wanted to ask you to give us some more insight on how you became uh, a life strategist. How did that just develop, and just a little bit of insight and how you even came up with that? I've never heard that, life strategist, but I like it. It speaks to me.
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little bit. I think I've
Okay.
my I think actually it goes back to like second grade. I was brought up Catholic, and I was in a Catholic school, and we were at mass, and I was in second grade, and luckily our church didn't have the big, it didn't have the, not luckily, that sounded judgmental. It did not have the cross that was, didn't mean to put judgment on that.
Right.
It had Joseph on, it had like, Jesus was about a second grader's age, about
Right.
10 or something. And
Right.
Joseph had his hands on it. It was like several stories high. And I remember sitting in mass and going, I'm not buying that they're sending all of the kids in China to hell just because they can't get baptized, in the
Right.
Catholic Church.
Right.
And
Right.
I swear he winked at me that day, and he was like, yeah, no, and so I just sort of, as my parents were very cool, when I was in high school, I started seeking out other religions. I started, teaching yoga, looking into all sorts of Eastern philosophies. And so I've always been seeking and interested, and always had a faith. And it's just been a process really of internalizing it, because one of the things I talk about, like my spiritual being, I had a lot of spirituality, but what I was ingrained with was God was a bearded man in the sky,
Right. Right.
and so,
Like
but
a lot
even
of
though they
us.
said,
Yes.
yeah, like God, yeah, you're God, but you're not really all God, because how could you think that you would be that good? Because really, you've got a little bit of God in you, but you're not all. So it took a lot of deprogramming to
Mm.
figure out, no,
Unlearning.
I am,
Yes. A
yeah, the
lot of
unlearning for
unlearning and
sure.
relearning and reminding. Yes.
Exactly. And remembering that we are divine, and that divine spark is in us and everyone and everything else. And we all have our unique vibration, which is divine.
Right.
So yeah, so it's been, and it really, that's fun. You had Julie on, and Julie Weiner, and
You know her?
we met. Yeah, we met
Oh,
each other through Sarah Landon's Learn to Channel course. And it was so funny because I had never been drawn to channeling. Of all the, I mean, I was all sorts of spiritual things, but channeling didn't call to me. But
right.
for some reason, when I saw this, I was so drawn to it. I was like, I have to do that. And what I learned was we're all channels, and we all have the ability to channel all the time.
Right.
And it's
No, no,
just
I strongly
allowing.
agree. I strongly agree.
And
Yes.
again, it's that conditioning. It's that conditioning that, no, there's a governor, there's a middleman between you and
Right.
spirituality or God or
Yes.
something. So what channeling really has allowed me to do is realize that I don't need it. There is no middleman. I just need to
Absolutely.
open up, and all
Absolutely.
the info. I am, and we have access to all the divine wisdom. It's just a matter of opening up and asking for it and receiving, and
Yes.
learning to receive.
Unfortunately.
So
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was going to say,
No,
unfortunately, I'm just going to touch on this very little. Um, the middleman indoctrination, unfortunately, is put there to, to feed the system, to, in my perspective, to keep people at certain levels, and also, a lot of monetary gain is involved as well. But I'll just leave it at that.
right. Yeah.
So
Yep.
go ahead, Susan.
Great. A lot of conditioning. So yeah, yeah, it's just been really fun the last really it's been about the last 4 years of just in the more and more expansion. And oh, I also, speaking of expansion, I have a bi-monthly community call, and it's called
Okay.
Embodying Wisdom and Expansion, which is what made me think of that. And what I'm just having so much fun is being able to co-create with people like yourself and have these conversations, and just, yeah, just expand, because I grow every time I have a chance to speak with someone, like
Right.
yourself. And my call it's a very casual Zoom call twice a month. And it's
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it's exactly this. It's a platform for people to have conversations like this, and come in
Mhm.
and really share, really embody, okay, I've been learning all these spiritual principles for most of my life, but how do I really ingrain them? How do I weave them into my everyday life?
Right.
What does
Right.
it look like? How do I embody them
Mhm.
effortlessly and in just the flow of my life? So it's
Yes.
really fun the calls that like people will be like, okay, like what aha did you have this week? What co-creation or manifestation did you have? What questions, what didn't work this week? Or the last couple of weeks. And so it's just really a fun place for people to share and to witness how people are co-creating and manifesting things in their own life, and how, the just being positive and knowing that everything is working for you, how that's working in other people's life always encourages us that, okay, it can happen for me too. So
Wow. I think that's absolutely, from my perspective, absolutely incredible that you are aligning and providing a space to have those conversations on a regular basis, because it is absolutely exciting to me and very necessary as uh, the planet to me is waking up and finding their tribe and being able to connect with other people that are finding the same things as you and remembering, and we're all remembering together. And to be able to do this, that's part of the reason, that's a major part of the reason that I was inspired to put together this podcast, is to highlight, you know, and I'll just put it quite frankly, highlight those that are on similar frequencies, similar paths, similar intentions as myself, and just waking up and just, spirituality, personal development, self-empowerment in some way, and just really looking inside and just talking to each other,
yeah.
with each other, in regard to what we're finding out, no matter what the practice, no matter what it is, whether it's meditation, yoga, prayer, affirmations, just all these amazing modalities to help strengthen, our journey and to be aware. And you said something important, a lot of things important, but y- different things are going to speak to you, and some everything might not be for you, even though it's nothing bad, but it might not speak to you or draw you into it. So, nah. But then
Yeah.
later on, even again, later on, it might, you know.
Right.
So,
You never
yes,
know.
amazing.
And that's one reason why I'm planning on doing some more courses. And I started with the Magic Morning Stretch because
Right.
I feel that's really like a way to get into, sorry about that.
No, you're
Get
fine.
into
Real life.
get in,
Real life is
yeah,
happening.
real life is happening.
That's right.
To try and get to get people in conversation with their body. And
Right.
so I'm planning on doing other courses on, getting in touch with other parts of our soul team. And the reason that I'm really passionate about putting this out there is I know it's not going to make sense to everybody. It's not going to speak to
Right.
anybody. I mean, everybody, but it's
Right.
made such a drastic difference in my life. And it's part of my daily life, and it allows me to expand out. I'm continually getting in deeper and deeper relationship with all of these parts of myself and just feel the expansion. So yeah, like you said, it's not, it's people are going to be drawn to
Right.
different
Right.
things, but yeah.
Yes. The
And
the key.
in my call also, I often at the last 15 minutes of my call, often I'll have somebody similar to you, I'll have somebody come on and do some sort of exercise or modality or something on the end of my call too, just to
Oh, wow.
expose, so people are exposed to more modalities. Maybe they've never heard of light language, or they've never heard of
Yes.
uh, work, or they've never heard of, so
Yeah. Breath work, light language. Yes. Yes. Just, yeah. There's so much, many more that I can't think of now, but I am so thankful that I'm at the point where when you mention, those modalities, uh, they're no longer new to me. Now, do I know everything about them? But no, but I do know that I've been fortunate enough to have people on the podcast that are into those, and it's become common language to me now. So, and yes,
yeah.
yes, and even though everything hasn't grabbed my attention to the point where I want to go and and do that, not yet,
Yeah.
but at least it's there, it's in my mental spiritual Rolodex now. It's there.
And
And
you're
it,
open to it.
may
Yeah.
be activated at different times or maybe not,
Yeah. Or not.
just like
And
yeah, meditation. I'm definitely, yes, a bit of yoga. Yes, practicing
yeah.
different yoga poses and just mindfulness and just certain things are speaking to me on the surface right now, but
Yeah.
I am open and aware of a whole lot more.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And on the call, it's a really, I tried to make it very open. We have a lot of people who have a lot of vocabulary, I will say, have been on this path a lot. And then I have people who this is brand new to them. And so I
Right.
try to make and so some people will be on. It's fun. I have people from Australia and England and Mexico and Canada. It's a really fun group. But always inviting more people in, and the people, you don't have to get on camera. You don't have to say anything. You can just listen, and just be there and just
Observe.
but it's your energy is so wonderful. It's adding. But if you're not comfortable with these conversations yet, at least you can listen and
Mm,
hear them, because a lot of these people maybe have never heard conversations like this before. So it's just opening up their awareness and in hopefully a very welcoming way. So
absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Susan. Can you share with any other links before we conclude? We're down to about 4 minutes now.
yeah,
And yeah, any other
I would
links? So
love
you
that.
have your website. Is there any other links you'd like to
That's
audibly
my
share now?
website. Again, it's susan-wise.com. If you go on there, there is a section for my magic. It just go to courses, and it's for the course. You can also go on, my Zoom call is free. So you can go on and sign up for the communities, for the embodying wisdom and expansion bi-monthly calls. And then there's also that other free gift on there. So you can find pretty much everything on my website. And then my Instagram is at Susan_wise_1. Susan Wise One.
Wow. Susan, nice one. Yes.
Susan O Wise One. I know my email is O Wise One.
I like it. That
Uh,
resonates with me.
but
Thank you. Thank you very much,
yeah,
Susan.
yeah. And if anybody wants to jump on our calls, we would love to have any and all of you on our calls, or any of the things. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. And yes, I want to once again extend my sincerest gratitude to you for bringing such incredible value to not only myself, but to the podcast and everyone who is listening and will listen and watch. Amazing. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Very
yes.
appreciative.
And thank you everyone for watching and or listening wherever you are viewing and or listening to this uh, on. Be sure to hit that like button, the subscribe button, share this. You have any comments, leave those. Yes, I appreciate your time that for supporting the podcast and myself, as well as my amazing, incredible guests that I am so fortunate and thankful to be able to have and yes, and just engage in amazing dialogues. I learn so much each time I do this, and it's just amazing. I'm always excited to do this. Amazing. Until next time, love and appreciation. See you soon. Enlightened, empowered, evolved.